my name is Jim Tarbell. I've lived here in Mendocino County for about 40 years. About 20 years ago, we started a program on the KZYX radio called Corporations and Democracy, and we started an education program in Mendocino County about power of corporations and the importance of democracy and how powerful it is.
Okay. Hi, my name is Carrie Durkee, and I came to Mendocino County about 12 years ago. And related to this project, I'd been studying with Richard Heinberg and people in Sebastopol about these same issues, also doing study groups in the community. And then Jim came into that circle with the study groups, and we ended up teaching these classes together and teaching several different classes separately, and then into this project.
We were educating people about how to take care of our democratic lives and how to create a common good for the world, and then we decided that we'd done enough educating. We had to do a project. We had to do something that was positive for the common good in the world. We started this project called Building an Economy for the Common Good. So people might start asking, well, what's wrong with our present economy? What's wrong with our, why are you unhappy with what's going on? And as I said, we were teaching these classes earlier, and the classes basically concentrated on that history of how we got to this political and economic situation where we're at right now. And really, what a lot of people don't recognize is our economic system was really designed by some wealthy stockbrokers, London stockbrokers in the middle of the British Empire. And all the assumptions of it really are around what benefited the stockbrokers in London in the early 1800s. And so they made assumptions like, well, our resources will never run out. Or they maybe made the assumptions that, well, nature doesn't really have any value. Or they might have said, well, you know, we don't have to worry about pollution because, you know, the world goes on forever and we're not going to have to, you know, worry about that sort of thing. But 200 years later, pollution is rampant. We're running out of resources. All those assumptions were false assumptions. So now we have to create a new economy, a new perspective of how we're living in order to create a sustainable world. And that's really the kind of institutions that we're trying to map and network them all together so they can create a relationship that support each other. Years ago, probably 20 years ago, my wife and I were in Spain and went to Mondragon, the city where this all began, and visited a lot of those co-ops. And what it was a Catholic priest after World War II. This is in the middle of the Basque Country. That is, in the Civil War, was against what became the established government. And they were in need of a lot of economic assistance, and they weren't getting it from the outside. So he started an educational program to educate people in technical aspects of radio and machinery and engineering and all that. And after he'd done that for a few years, they started these businesses, and they were all worker-owned businesses, and they became profitable. And then they have housed other businesses, and they've grown fantastically. They're one of the biggest corporations in Europe. And they have, what they say today in that movie, 120 different businesses. They have banks. They're one of the biggest grocery stores in Spain. They do so many different things, and they're all worker-owned co-ops, and they all assist each other and they all support each other. In our first class, we watched a video of a woman from Quebec named Nancy Niemtom, who has been very central to the growth of the solidarity economy in Quebec, and it has become also very powerful, and it has many institutions, and it has gotten the government to understand how important this sector of their economy is. They went to the government after the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, and they said, look, our institutions are thriving. They're growing, adding employees, while everybody else is going broke. Why don't you do training programs for these solidarity economies? These are things like parent-run daycare centers or institutions that are very important to society, and they just don't falter in a recession. They are strong, important community institutions. And she convinced the the government and a lot of the labor unions to start these huge financial institutions to help finance these kinds of companies in Quebec. That would be a model, I think, that we would love to see developed here in Mendocino County. I would say we modeled our project off of a project put together by the United States U.S. Social Solidarity Network. And it is a map that they created of all the businesses and organizations that were worker-owned businesses, co-ops, a whole variety of institutions that were unusual and challenging our dominant economic paradigm of how the economy works. I know when I first ran into the Solidarity Economy Network at the U.S. Social Forum in Atlanta, Georgia, and somebody was there with an example of a restaurant that didn't have any prices, and people just paid what they wanted. It was a worker-owned business, and they discovered that people paid more than they would have if there had been a menu. So people that are just coming up with these new ideas, and they created this map called that you can get online of institutions around the country that were part of this network. And so we decided, after doing this for 2 or 3 years, that let's map all the institutions in Mendocino County that are creating an economy for the common good. They're creating a better world. So just to be clear about how we're doing this, is that we're holding these series of workshops at Mendocino College campuses. In the fall we held 8 workshops on the coast to get everybody online, knowledgeable about how to do these interviews, and then go out and actually do the interviews. So the participants in the workshop are the people that are doing the work. And then now we have this class here at the Willits campus of Mendocino College. And so there are a whole, up to 20 people who have come to that class, and they are now out doing interviews. So, and we're not going to put anybody on the map that we don't interview. But those people nominate the people to be on the map, and then they go out and interview the people on the map.
Well, the idea is to have people nominate according to what they see in the community as to the advantage of people or nature. The questions are trying to get at the bottom of what it is they're doing to manifest a new way forward, as opposed to just the bottom line being money. The social aspect of how people are treated and how they are reimbursed for their work, or are they part of the thinking of how the operation functions at all? Does their participation matter? I think one of the things that has come out of kind of our corporate culture is people thinking that they're only good for one thing. They're either a detail person or a big thinker, or there's hardly any in between. But I think we're all capable of all those aspects, and how to bring the best out of people, so that when they spend most of their life at work, can they get satisfaction?
What we're doing is we're creating a relationship of organizations in Mendocino County that are doing positive things for the county. Those institutions have been recruited because they're nonprofits, hospitals, universities, and they also have that same sort of social mode where they're not just looking at a bottom line, that they have a lot of other missions. And they are the drivers of these workers' co-ops that are laundry or solar companies, and so they become the main clients of these businesses. So the idea is to combine these people who have these institutions that have big demands, like a hospital for laundry or schools that have roofs for solar panels, and the providers which are worker-owned businesses. So to put those together is an important network to make. This is about networking and creating relationships, and that's what we hope to do in Mendocino County, is list all these people and have them realize they're all connected, that they can all support each other. We call this solidarity. economy because everybody's in solidarity together. They all are supporting these aims of really creating a sustainable and healthy world for both people and planet. If the map goes out there, there will be companies and corporations that will say, well, I want to be on that map. And at that point we can say, well, if you want to be on that map, then you have to take these considerations. You have to think about your social impact and your environmental impact. So in that way, there may be some incentive for these companies to change their operations in order to be part of this map that we certainly plan to be an important descriptive of how you act when you're in Mendocino County.
But we have an organization called the Grassroots Institute, which there are a group of us who are trying to drive this forward.
The Grassroots Institute, Progressive Solutions for the Common Good. Well, that's just what we called, we decided we were putting on these classes, and we decided we should have an umbrella that we could put these classes under, so that because people like to think like you do, well, there's an organization putting on these classes. It's still the same people putting on the classes, we just created this name to kind of house the classes within, with the idea of getting a website that then you could put all these classes online. This is pretty much a solo effort on our part to do this in California as far as we know.
A similar effort has been made with nonprofits in Sonoma County. I know they have a list, not necessarily a map, but I know they have a whole list of every nonprofit that exists. And I think it was really about the same kind of effort, trying to show what groups are really working towards the common good. My name again is Carrie Durkee, and the email is the first initial of my first name, C, and then my last name, Durkee, D-U-R-K-E-E, at mcn.org.
My name is Jim Tarbell, and my email address is rtp@mcn.org. We'd love to hear from anybody who's interested in this. We're always looking for more participants. It is going to be an ongoing project, forever and ever as far as I'm concerned, adding people, changing, growing. It would be very fun to have a wonderful economy for the common good here in Mendocino County.